problem I have, and explain this to me. I'm going to pay you a fortune to play, but you can disrupt my business, and it's not going to cost you anything, and you can keep disrupting my business?
They're the product, Mike. They're the product.
No, you see, they're not just the product. Because if they were the product, they would go.
How are they not just? They are the product.
No, they are the product, but they're the product in this regard. They are the product, but they are not the whole product. Also the product is the legacy of the team, the uniform, the stadium. It's all part of the product, every part of it. And they are a transitory part of the product. They come and go. So they are not just the product, because the uniform is the product and the stadium is the product. It's all part of the same thing. And it is a business, okay? You're running a business here. If I am running a business, I get to tell you I have certain rules. You don't have to be part of my business.
Who is the biggest part of this package, Mike?
It's an equal. I think it is an equal relationship, player.
I got to disagree with you.
Really?
I got to disagree. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
so then why don't the players? Well, wait a second. If that's true, then why don't the players go off and start their own league? Keep all the money.
Mike, come on. We
well,
both
wait a second.
know
Why not?
Why not? It's not possible.
Why not? Then they're
like
not. Wait a second. Then they're not the whole game.
Mike, like you said before, the NFL has reached a plateau that is just unbelievable. Nothing can touch it. How is anybody going to start a league and let alone let it be even competitive?
If they are the game,
right,
then why can't they go off and start their own business?
It's because that's an impossible
because
feat,
there
Mike.
is more to the game than just the player. The team's history matters.
If you break it down percentage, Mike, first of all, I understand.
You don't think the team's history matters?
I do think it matters, and I'm a young guy, but other people my age, Mike, we know we're age of now. Nobody cares about history. I do. I personally do. I care about all the traditions. You know, I'm a young guy, but I know about the 50s, the 60s.
No one's asking you to know that, but the bottom line is the reason why people are fans, they're fans of certain teams. If you showed up, if you took the same players and put them and said, we're going to take this team, Team A and Team B, and put them in this stadium this weekend and sell tickets, how many people are going to show up to watch it?
Mike, we both know there are a ton of people.
But no one will show up. Nobody will show up. You'll get 5,000 people. But if you, at the same time, took Bruce Springsteen and put him in a stadium this weekend, who's going to show up?
A ton of people.
He's the game. In himself, he's the game. The players are part. They are equal, and that's why revenues in sports now are basically split 50-50, because there's a structure that is part of the business, and there is a players that are part of the business. And to me, they are equal parts of the business. I
got one for you, Mike. I got one for you.
Go ahead.
So if they're coming to see, you're saying they're coming to see the whole, they're coming to see the team.
It has to be wrapped inside the history of the sport. It has to matter. They have to be in a Yankee uniform. They have to be in a uniform.
But what if they're coming to see one specific player?
That can happen. That can happen at a certain time. That's a very rare occurrence. That's a very rare occurrence.
Why is it? Because when most people go see the Giants, they want to see Beckham. That's it. They don't want to. They didn't want to see any other.
You're telling me if Beckham's hurt, their attendance goes down? Nonsense.
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying...
Well, what you said makes no sense. Not true.
Okay, let's use a different player. I'm gonna use another player. When Mike Vick was playing, when the Mike Vick experience was going on, Mike, if there was a Falcons game, why were people coming to Falcons games? It wasn't because of the other team or the Falcons. It was because of one player.
No, it wasn't.
Michael
It's completely
Vick.
wrong.
The
Falcons broke attendance records after Michael Vick left. So come on now, that's ridiculous. It's not about that. The league moves on. Players move on. Players leave. There's always players coming. There's always new stars coming. There's always a conveyor belt of players. Time moves along. The players leave. The players are an integral part of the game. They are every bit as important as any other part of the game. There's no question. They aren't the game just by themselves. There is a structure and a history to the game that matters. It is a business. You guys are forgetting that. Larry in Manhattan. What's up, Larry?
Hey, how you doing, Mike? Thanks for taking the call.
What's happening?
I just think this NFL kneeling thing is a very complicated problem, and you hit on a point
I don't think it's complicated at all.
No, well, Mike, you can't speak for them. You have your viewpoint is what a majority of people have, but the minorities are the one that's dealing with the issues.
Wait a second. We don't go. Yeah, they do get paid handsomely. Yes.
Okay. Case in point, there's a basketball player in Milwaukee. The video is about to come out today, 2 a.m., going to Walgreens, got into an altercation with a police officer, which was not provoked by himself, and he was tased. Now, the video is going to come out today. And this is an African-American man. That is why we're kneeling. That is why these players are kneeling, Mike, and I commend them for it.
That issue has nothing to do with kneeling. Why does it have to be about
Mike,
kneeling?
No, it's a social justice issue.
No,
why
it's not.
Why is it?
No, it's not. Wait a second.
How is it not a social justice issue?
That's not the only. That is the only wrong in this country. That's the only ill we have in this whole country.
No. It's more than that.
We know we have a lot of ills in this country. Okay,
everything.
And the issue, the idea that the only way you can cure that or raise awareness to that is by kneeling during the national anthem.
Well, no. That's not the only way you can bring attention to it.
I don't think I don't think one correlates to the other.
I was calling because I just think the way you're ripping Roger Goodell is kind of unfair.
Why? I think it's ridiculous. I think he has botched it from the beginning. I think he has mishandled it from the beginning.
But Mike, this is about the players, and I think the players.
No,
have
it's not
a role
about
in
the
this.
players.
It is. It's what owners and players, but I think there's a more important role here with the NFL union that no one's here.
What's the role?
Ever heard from.
What's the role?
They should have partnered with the league to address this issue. And to me,
they have a collective bargaining. They have rules that they go.
Well, I understand that, Mike, but the players were still kneeling. I mean, it should have just been.
Listen, players are kneeling because they have not been reprimanded. They should have been reprimanded from the beginning and told that was not going to be acceptable, and that would have ended it right there. And that would have ended it right there. And again, there's nothing. And you know what? Any player who wants to raise any social issue and try to right any wrong that he believes, more power to him. I think he should get plenty of support. I completely commend him for doing that. I commend him for his voice. I commend him for his work. But that doesn't make doing it during the national anthem on Sunday, during the anthem, doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. And doesn't make it the only way that it can be done. And again, to me, if I am paying you as an owner, I will set the rules. And if you don't want to work on my club, fine. You don't have to play on my team. But I'll set the agenda. And that doesn't mean I won't allow you and work with you and encourage you to have a voice in the community and to do everything we can to cure anything that we can help fix in our town and in our country. Absolutely. And commend you and put the power of our organization behind it, put our revenue behind it, put our power behind it, our celebrity behind it, everything. Absolutely true. But what I don't want you to do is alienate a big portion of our customers on Sunday. Mac in Manhattan. What's up, Mac?
Hey, Mike. How you doing?
What's happening?
Man, well, I could jump back about 25 years when I was first listening to you as a kid, and you kindly said, man, how are you calling me at 13 years old? You sound like a young Tom Boswell. And I can't be happier that you're back. You are.
Thank you, but I don't remember. Right. I don't know if I would call you a young Tom Boswell.
I have it on tape.
Oh, you did? I called you a young Tom Boswell? Okay.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Yes, you did. I had some very astute points about the 1994 players' strike as a 13-year-old.
Okay.
Let's
see if you have some astute points today. Let's see what you have.
Okay, here's the deal.
Good.
I have made my life and my career as a 35-year-old white man, a city kid, being raised on and working in the business of black entertainment, the arts, the sports. You just had a gentleman on whose agent also doubles as the biggest entertainer, a billionaire in this business, Jay-Z. Do you think Jay-Z is there telling Saquon Barkley that he can't be there and do what he wants? Do we think that Saquon Barkley doesn't know about Jim Brown and Kirk Flood? This conversation is not good. This conversation is vicious when callers are calling into your show and talking about Bentleys and Beamers and gold chains. It's code for young black men in America. It's a hard time to be a young black man in America. I stand next to them every day. I do not want these kind of callers showing back up on your show, because while you were gone, they went around. I like that. And as much as I like you back on the air, the only one that could stop that vitriol about talking about young men.
Listen, there's no vitriol on this show, okay, first of all. And number two, okay, the idea that that's all it is not true. The idea that that's the only way that there can be an expression is not true. There are a ton of ways to help build better relationships inside cities. There are a ton of ways to show protest. There are a ton of ways to do good things and to use the power of the league and the power of these players' celebrity. It does not have to be done in a way to turn away a big portion of the audience. It does not have to be done that way, especially when these players are pulling down big paychecks from the people who they are hurting. So it doesn't have to work that way. It's a business. It does not have to work that way.
Mike, I like the dialogue, and I appreciate that. And gentlemen before me, younger caller as well, you gave them that space. I appreciate that, but I say this. I will support the NFL because they're giving an option here. A player could stay in the locker room, although I might not believe it.
That's a silly option. It's a silly option. It's divisive, and it proves nothing. Proves nothing. What is he doing? What is he doing in the locker room? He can't come out and protest, but he can stay in the locker room? That makes no sense to anybody. How does that solve any problem?
I don't think it's a great solution at all.
It's a ridiculous solution. It's not a solution. In any way is it a solution. They should have come to a solution. And if they wanted to include the players, fine. And if they chose not to include the players, and if the Players Association feels that their rights have been violated, well, they will bring that up because that's what collective bargaining is about. And if they have that right, fine. And if they don't have that right, fine too. But there are rules that the employer can make about the employees. And that's what this is right now. This is a employer-employee relationship. And they can make rules. And that's what I think we're talking about here. And every other league has enforced those rules, and the NFL has not. Frank in Plainfield, New Jersey. What's up, Frank?
Hey, Mike. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, what's up?
God, it's good to hear you back on the radio, man. Anyways, look, I'll see it this way. I'm kind of sick of the whole damn thing, to be honest with you.
Yeah, so am I. I agree with you. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's a football game, people. Can we just go to a damn football game? Put all your BS aside. Your politics, you this, you that, you this. Can we ever, just for one time come together and just watch a football game? Just a simple football game. Never mind what color you are, how much money you make, where you come from. This one's poorer than that one. This one doesn't have this. Bada boop, bada beep. It's ridiculous. Play the football games. Everybody shut the hell up. You want to protest outside somewhere. And if they want to, make the owners give the money. Like you said, it's a day's work. When you go to work, the boss tells you, hey, look, I want you to put in a 100-pound AC unit. You say, well, I don't feel like doing it today because, I don't know, somebody got, one of my brothers got knocked off yesterday. I don't feel like doing it.
Well, listen.
I get somebody else to do it.
What you said, listen, Frank, it is a football game. And what I've always liked about sports is this part of it. And that's shown every time we see sports in this country. And that is that sports is the one place in this country where it doesn't matter where you came from. And it doesn't matter where you went to college. And it doesn't matter who your father is. And it doesn't matter who you know. What matters is if you can step on the stage, step in the arena, and compete with the best and prove that you belong with the best. That's what it's about. And the one thing, the best thing, this sports has led in this area in this country. It has led. You know, we've seen that. There was atrocities here. The idea that you couldn't, as you were barred from playing baseball in this country because of the color of your skin is an outrage. But that was fixed. In all these sports, you had owners in this sport who wouldn't sign a black player. An outrage. That was fixed. We didn't have black coaches. We didn't have black assistant coaches. That was fixed. We didn't have black quarterbacks. That was fixed. Because sports has always been about who's better. And it took a while for civilization to get to the point where it did not affect sports the wrong way. It did. Tony Dungy, a guy I love and I've known forever, he wanted to be a quarterback in the NFL. He couldn't be. They wouldn't let him be. There were other players who played in the 60s and the 50s who wanted to play quarterback. They weren't allowed to. There was a time they weren't allowed to play safety. There was a time they weren't allowed to play center. There was a time they weren't allowed in the SWC. They weren't allowed in the ACC. They weren't allowed in the SEC. It changed. Why did it change? Because the people there wanted to win games. And they said, we're going to win them with the best players we can find. And that helped change for the better some of those areas. They're not perfect. We live in a big country where everything isn't perfect. But it gets better. And it's better now in a lot of ways. In a lot of ways, it's better. We are seeing that in business everywhere. You are seeing that by seeing women in business empowered and minorities in business empowered to where it's not a big issue anymore. To me, you know what? Black quarterbacks, black coaches, that stuff isn't even an issue. I remember when it was an enormous issue. It's not even an issue anymore. So sports has led in a lot of those areas. Doesn't mean things are perfect. But when you can get to the point where you say, I'm talking about all my players. I'm not talking about this player, that player, this player. I'm talking about all my players. I want all my players to line up for the national anthem because they're my players. I pay them. They're on my team. I pay them. I want all of them to line up. And then if we have issues that we need to fix, we'll fix it. But we'll all be unified in this area. Now this is divisive, what we have going on here. You can go hide in the you can go wait in the locker room. You can go hide in the locker room. Here's what I do. I don't want to tell you, I don't want to reprimand you, but I'll let you hide in the locker room. Not a solution. Just creating another problem. Back after this.